My name's Greg Cleary. I'm a bit of a blow-in here compared to 100 years and 40, 60, 80,000, whatever it is, give or take 10 or 20. I've been here 8 years. I came here for a year in 2011 and forgot to leave. I'm a little bit privileged in a couple of ways. In 2011 I saw a rise in the river, and it was such a privilege and an opportunity, I thought too good to miss. So there was a second rise in 2012, so I bought a little boat so I could have a look at the river in flood, which not many people actually get the opportunity to. And I went up as far as the petrol tank could take me and came back down. You could see it spreading far and wide and delivering nutrient to farms and billabongs growing and the bird life and the roos would escape and jumping through 6 foot of water to get away from us, sort of thing. The fish you could see with the little fish detector, it was a live living entity. And unfortunately now it's a bit of a danger, really, as we've discovered with the health issues, with the boils that children and adults are getting flown out from infections. The Flying Doctor Service getting a fair whack out of it, but it's not a good thing that you've got to leave country to get sores fixed that are something that someone else gave you and poured it down from upstream. I've also had the privilege, I'm a nurse here and I can't speak on behalf of health, I'm just speaking privately, but I had the privilege of working under Murray's mother, and she told me about the eddies, that it was the spirits, the old people, and as it was pointed out by Rhonda, that was the Dreamtime story, to keep the kids safe, to keep them out of the fast-flowing river. I'd nursed Rhonda's father, again another privilege, and he'd see the water come down in those two floods, and he'd tell me where it was coming from by the colour of the water. He said, "Oh, the Paroo's in flood now, look at the black water coming down." The people here know their river. They know the importance of it, and they know what it's doing to community. Also, it's been mentioned about the economics, and we've heard about Menindee. I've watched a little bit of on Landline. You get an ABC, they're good, and they try and give both sides, but one side I've heard is that they need all that water up on the headwaters of the river because it creates employment. There's half a dozen people here working on a farm, and there's a dozen people in this community. How many people from Tilpa down? How many communities, or from Burke down, that are dying? How much employment has left those districts? What's the Coorong like? What's the salt content in the river that we can't water our gardens? We had a beautiful lawn and roses at the hospital, for example. They've all died because the salt content of the river, which is the only river available for it, has killed everything. I went to work one day and there's a dead kangaroo on the lawns of the hospital, because that's one of their last places they can get a little bit of a nibble. They're eating the dry leaves off the fig tree, and they've got no clean water to wash it down with. So the water, the untreated water, what little there is left of it, it stinks. If you go past somewhere that's still lucky enough to have a little bit sprinkling on their lawn that's killing all the plants, you can smell it as you walk past. I used a toilet at a friend's house this morning, and to flush it, it's river water, not to say waste good rainwater, and you can smell it as it comes out. And I thought, was that me or is that the river, I'd like to think as a white fella we'd given back a little. We've given blue-green algae, we've given carp, we've given pestilence and disease. It's not a good report, On the 76 flood, Uncle John got in the boat as I was nursing there. I bought this boat to get on the river. Eddie's brother helped me launch it. We went down the river, got Rhonda's father in it, took him down, and another young lady that was a resident at the time, took him down to the bridge. We couldn't get under it because the river was so high. I couldn't get this little half cab 14-foot runabout under the bridge. It was so high. So we came back up and looked at your grandfather's place as a World War II vet. Was a soldier's allotment, and your father got to see it from the river again. And that just made his day. And for the next 3 or 4 years that he was alive, he was telling me how his grandson would talk about that trip, you know. It just means more to people than a river, you know. What's Barkenshill without Bark? What's a river people without a river? What's the community without life in it? And it's just a bad reflection on the white fella and a bad deed done to our hosts, you know. So, yeah, I don't know if I can say much more. It's just sorry, guys.
No, thank you. And I know you're speaking in your own capacity, not as a nurse, but as someone who's in the healthcare profession.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been seeing over the last few months, particularly the last 6 months, any particularly different kind of health issues?
Yeah. The bounce has left the community. The kids aren't swimming in the river. If they do and they cut themselves, they get infections. If they wash in it, they get these boils and stuff. It's happened a couple of times, and it's always when the river's low. Now, at the moment, it's about 2 metres below the weir, and the pickup area, the weir holds back just near the hospital, and that's where we usually get our drinking water. And it's just a brown bit of a puddle at the moment, and that happens to be up the end where the morgue is, and I think there's a little bit of a relationship there, you know. You see the morgue, you see the dead river. You know, it's just not a good thing. When it does, it picks up so quick. You see the pelican and the bird life come back. They know when it's coming back. They get here sometimes before the big flows, you know. The nature knows what's going on and what it needs. It's us silly fellas, silly humans that are buggering it up for not just the community here, black and white, or downriver with Adelaide's water supplies, and now we're going to try and stuff up the Murray, eh, Dave?
We'll do it.
So, you know,
we're on the way.
When are we ever going to wake up to the fact that we're really killing this country? You know, we're killing the country that supports all of us.
When you say the bounce, do you mean the bounce in the children or lack of immunity?
The bounce in the children that would come up from swimming in the river and come up ask for a drink of water because they've been down in the hot sun all day, you know, and
So you mean their energy?
Yeah, the energy, the happy spirit, if you want to put it that way, the enthusiasm, the good stuff in life, you know, not the getting in trouble because there's nowhere to swim and nothing to do, not the mischief that we all got up to as kids, but, you know, it goes a step further when there's nothing else to do, but what you shouldn't be is there's no passing down of information from the elders because there's no information to give if it's dead. You can only tell a story, you can't show the story, you know. So there's a lot of effort put in this town with Murray teaching language and Eddie with his artwork, you know. There's a lot of pride and spirit left in the people, but it's a bit flat when the river's flat. And I've heard too many times when the river's unhealthy, the people are not well, and there's something to that.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you sharing with us.
Yeah, no worries. I might just add, I'm in a privileged point also. I live at Whitecliffs, I work here. Whitecliffs doesn't have a river, but I do have rainwater tanks. So I bring my drinking water down from the rainwater tanks that are running out up there, so I can drink water here, and I share it with a few of my friends down here, because I dehydrate down here. When it's up to drinking the water here, my health goes downhill because I don't drink it. I don't like drinking something that smells like a swimming pool or looks like a puddle, you know. And I think if you could get a bit of footage of where the water is meant to come from town, that might explain a little bit more than I can say. Because you can see how low it is, you can see how fast it's dropping, as it's been alluded to, because the bank is now wet for a foot or so in, and that's only over a week or something or less. It's dropping that fast that it's noticeable, where in the past it doesn't. You don't get that wet line. You only get that when it drops quickly, and you can't get into the river when it starts to drop. So if you're ever going to go in there with a boat or something, you can only go on the rise and the high point. You can't go, the moment it starts to drop, you can't go back in there because it drops that quick that it's a danger. Now, I put my boat up with the help of Eddie's brother up at Steamers Point, as you heard about. You wouldn't put a canoe in there now. You couldn't even float a little toy plastic boat in there, you know. It's just gone. And it's just, you see a bit of a film over it sort of thing. So it's not just talk. It's not just whinging about nothing. It's the life of a community, it's the life of a river, it's a life of how many dozen or 100 communities up and down the place. It's the life of the Coorong. It's the life of Adelaide. It's the life of everywhere from us down. And I've heard sharing and caring. Why can't we do that? Why can't people here are willing to let our mob in? Why can't we do the right thing by them?
Because greed and selfishness rules. That's what's ruling our system.
Yep.
They haven't had teaching in that area, Greg. For some reason or other, they like to tell what they believe is right. They get it wrong every time, but still won't change.
Their bank balances don't get it
well,
wrong.
Well, they always
Dave.
look at them and say, geez, you know, like I'm a dual citizen, I can go and live in this other country when I stuff this one up.
Yeah.
But where can we go?
That's right.
Where's my dual citizenship? Right? I haven't got one.
Yeah. My mob's
Well,
been here for 150 years, but not in town.
But we should be
generally,
having some
and we-
saying. We need to action in this town. We need to make a state of our own. We should start talking about it and start doing it. And otherwise we be sitting here and make more bores down here. We don't know what they're doing to the Murray Basin underneath us. We don't know how that is reacting to the extractions from there, and the number of bores and sticking in and
And
so
the
on.
reason we're drinking from the bore is because the river got that salty we couldn't drink it. It's not because the bore's not salty. It's way above the human health levels, but it's under what the river was.
Yeah, that's
And in another week or two, that puddle will be gone anyway.
Thank you.
It'll just be a little bit of
Well, it
mud.
will, because that's the lowest I've ever seen it down that end and up here. In those
And that
things.
big fishing hole down the point where the bore is, it's just about gone.
Well, as a kid, I never ever thought that we would have to revert to drinking bore water. That wasn't even a dream of the old people. They never forecast that. And all the things that they done. I don't know how long the bore been down there. I don't know what year they put it in, but it certainly was down there when I came home in 2006, which is 13 years ago.
But you don't remember any bore water before then?
There was no bore water before.
That's what we thought.
When I left here in 1974, this was a healthy river. It was in a full flood in 1974, right? And there was no sign of bore water. There was no talk about bore water. It's from there on to where we are today and when they put it in. And like I'm saying, when I came back home, and I'm here to stay until I kick the bucket, and I hope it's got water in it. The thing is that we've had all these years, and I know that the bore that they put in there was done before I came home. So really we've had opportunities to make noises about things in a way that could have helped us, right? And all right, that's water under the bridge, it's gone, it's spilled. But the thing is, we should have learnt from things back then what they were doing. It's like what I'm saying about the pipeline from Wentworth to Broken Hill. That's just a gimmick of the government to help their mining fellas, you know. They own all that part of the thing. It's about them. It's not about us. Right? And they're making it an argument between us and them, etc. and so on. They've been very clever in the way they've done things in making policies. And this is one that I relate today, is that one time they could take us out and shoot us, and they did that. Now they kill us with policies. They are killing us. Not only our river, but killing us with policies. And we're sitting back and doing nothing about it. Doing nothing.
Well, that's not true. We are doing something about it.
Let's have a tea break and we can resume, but I need some tea and sugar.
Yeah.
Can I
think.
just add something?
Yes.
We're being supported a little bit by people bringing bottled water
Yes.
up. So there are people out there that are concerned.
Oh, yeah.
There's people out there that are supportive. There's people out there that have gone to a lot of expense and trouble to bring water up to us in bottles, which causes another problem.
Of
All
course,
those
it's-
petrochemicals that
10
are
cents each.
wrapped around a little bit of water, precious as it is. But there's no fish in that water. There's
Not
no
much in that
clam.
water, actually.
There's no yabby, you know, and you're not going to fill the river up with it, much as we appreciate it. It's a lovely gesture, but we've got to get a solution.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation in Australia that people have to drink bottled water. It's
Yeah.
unheard of.
Yeah.
So it's a first,
Yep,
you know, and it's bad.
yep.
You have
And thank
to.
you for
need
those
to drink
people.
it, but yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And even the
Oh,
people
yeah.
who are giving it to you know
Without
that
a
it's not the solution. It's just it's to help survive the
That's
problem.
right. It's a survival mode, as someone said. I think Murray said, we're in survival mode, you know.